Welcome into NBA Now. Harrison Graham and Chase Sr. with you. It is mailbag time. Hashtag NBA or Super Chat. We'll answer as many questions as we can. If you Super Chat, you can skip the line. SG first up here with the Super. Who's a better three-point shooter, Curry or Booker? Curry might be the best shooter of all time.
Yes, Steph Curry is the best three-point shooter of all time, and I'm not taking anything away from Devin Booker. I thought that list of young players who you'd like to build around put out there by ESPN, not having Devin Booker ahead of guys like LaMelo Ball was a complete joke. But let's be honest here. Steph Curry is the greatest shooter in the history of the NBA, and the conversation ends there.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right on that. So I would go Curry 100%. Chase Graff, Kawhi to the Warriors. Well, if you're watching live, we're going to break down our top 25 free agents here in about 15 minutes, so stay tuned for that. Let's speculate. Let's say Kawhi opts out here, Chase, and let's speculate even more. Maybe the Clippers lose early in the playoffs. First, second round, maybe Paul George struggles again. I think it's interesting.
Yeah.
He can stay on the West Coast. He loves California.
So if the Clippers have a disastrous showing in the playoffs and say they're one and done, maybe Kawhi leaves. But look, he's from San Diego. He has a home there. He's able to fly to Los Angeles, and it's a really good situation for him. And I understand that this report was thrown out there earlier this week by NBA Analysis. Financially, it's not even possible unless the Warriors get rid of like several players.
You got to move Wiggins,
who are making a lot of money.
You have to move at least Wiggins, and it starts there.
Yes. Maybe even Draymond Green as well.
Which, by the way, I would do that if I was the Warriors. If I knew I could get Kawhi. If I knew I had Kawhi, I am dumping Wiggins at Draymond at all cost easily. I'm not even thinking twice about that.
We talk about NBA free agency being wild.
Oh, baby.
If that happens, my goodness.
We'll be covering it, so subscribe. Kyle Love, hey, Texas fellas, who would you rather have in their prime if you were building a super team, LaMarcus Aldridge or Anthony Davis? Appreciate the hashtag NBA there, Kyle. This is a fun question. Obviously, LaMarcus Aldridge had to suddenly retire due to the irregular heartbeat issue. I think it's Anthony Davis because he's more of a complete player and he blocks shots and he can score as well. I think offensively you could argue they're pretty similar.
Yeah.
But I think the defensive prowess of the Brow would give him the edge here.
I think so too, and I think Anthony Davis is a little bit more athletic. Career numbers, LaMarcus Aldridge, like an 18, 19 points per game guy, around 8 rebounds. Anthony Davis at this point of his career, nearly 24 points and 10 rebounds. So I think Anthony Davis is the better player. It's an interesting conversation. I think LaMarcus Aldridge is definitely going to be a Hall of Famer when it's all said and done. 7-time All-Star, 3 All-NBA teams. But Anthony Davis is a unicorn. He's built different, and while he might not be the number 1 option on a championship team, one of the best number 2 options.
And I will say this, LaMarcus Aldridge handled being a top option in Portland better than AD ever did
That's
in
a
New
great
Orleans.
point.
And that deserves some credit. And that Portland team won more than the Pelicans did when AD was their top option. So I wouldn't completely discount Aldridge here, but overall I would agree. I would type AD here, but I think it's actually a lot closer than a lot of, under the age of 25 basketball fans would think here. So get your votes in. Type LA for LaMarcus Aldridge. Type AD for Anthony Davis. Who in their prime would you rather have if you're building a super team? Big play John Wall and DJ Augustine for Kobe White. Why would the Bulls do that? And they can't afford John Wall's $40 million contract.
Just not going to happen.
No, John.
I love speculating about NBA trades because that conjecture is really fun. That's not something I see as realistic.
It's not feasible, so appreciate the question, but not going to work. Jurassic Mark, should the Raptors go for the play-in tourney? I mean, they're like a game back of the Bulls now, or as we're filming this live on Friday, depending on when you're watching, they could actually be in the 10 seed. I don't think there's any harm. You kept Kyle Lowry. You might as well try to make the playoffs at this point. So, yeah, why not? Look, Gary Trent has played really well for Toronto, so why not try and get into the playoffs and see what happens? I think it's kind of too late to tank. You've started to win some games here. Why not?
Yeah, the Bulls are in 10th place for that play-in tourney at 22-32. The Raptors are 22-34, so they've played 2 more games than the Chicago Bulls, and they're right there. Why not? Because if you make it into the play-in tourney and you lose, it's not like your draft stock is altered that much, right? And as we've seen, who does one of the best jobs outside of the Miami Heat of developing players? It's the Toronto Raptors. So I think wherever they draft, they're probably going to get a good player. And what I really like, Gary Trent Jr., how he's been playing.
Hey, you get Nick Nurse in a playoff series in a 1-8 matchup.
Look
Who
out.
knows? I mean,
Kyle Lowry's a dog.
Wouldn't completely dismiss it. The R&B Bros, can the Warriors pull a We Believe run in the playoffs and go deep in the playoffs? It's funny you asked this. We actually talked about this in the Chat Sports office, and I said, man, the Warriors are hot. Steph is humming. Who doesn't want to see a Jazz-Warriors first-round matchup and Steph putting some pressure on Utah, who has a lot to lose? And obviously, depending on when you're watching this, who knows what the Donovan Mitchell injury situation is. But that would be fun if the Warriors got in as the 8 seed. I would love to see it happen.
It would be awesome because you know Steph Curry is going to come out guns a-blazing, and he's going to try to put the team on his back and average around 40 points per night. I will say that growing up, that Warriors team, led by Baron Davis, 2006, 2007, with Matt Barnes and Jason Richardson.
That's a tough one in these
when
parts.
they beat the Dallas Mavericks as an 8 seed, the first team to ever do that, the atmosphere inside Oracle Arena, one of the most electric that you'll ever see. I'll never forget Baron Davis throwing down a jam in that series, and the crowd made that arena shake.
Shout out Baron Davis for getting the bag after that from
For
the
real.
Clippers and just fading into the abyss.
Hey.
Never really saw him again. But
Got the
hey,
bag.
that was a great series. Dom Towney on the golf course. How far do the Hawks go in the playoffs? The middle of the East, and we'll kind of show you the Eastern Conference standings. This is as of Friday, April 16th here. The Hawks sitting in the 4 seed. Look, Nate McMillan, he's gonna get that job. Like he keeps getting these top assistant jobs. Coach gets fired, and then team gets hot under Nate McMillan. I think he deserves a lot of credit. This team has played really hard for him, and I think this is gonna be a top 6 or 7 seed in the Eastern Conference. And I think if you're the Hawks, if you make the playoffs, I think that's good progress because in a season when you fired your coach and you're basically a lock for the playoffs, that means you're going in the right direction. If you want a series, that is major progress if you're Atlanta. I think this year's already a win for that core with Trae Young and John Collins. I think the arrow is pointing up for the Atlanta Hawks.
Heading into this season, one of the young teams I was really excited about was the Atlanta Hawks. And when they got off to that slow start, I was kind of mystified because they do have a lot of talent. Imagine, now that the Hawks are playing well, if they had a guy like DeAndre Hunter who hasn't played since late January. He is a significant piece for that team.
3-and-D guy.
But Trae Young has been playing well. Solomon Hill, since he's
he
been
has
entered
played
into
well.
the starting lineup, he's actually been sneaky good. You have John Collins and Kevin Herter. That's a pretty solid team. I think they could make noise depending on the matchup in the first round.
The great Alexander, if the Warriors get up to the 6th seed, can Steph win MVP? Cheers, boys.
Cheers.
Yes, because it is a major gap for Golden State to get up to 6. I think Portland's got a good 6-game lead as of Friday. So if Steph got them up to the 6th seed and ahead of the play-in tournament, I think at that point he's firmly in the mix to win MVP. He deserves a lot of credit already and should be in the mix already right now. You get to the 6th seed, though, that means Golden State's won like 75% of their games the rest of the way.
Yeah, and they've already won 4 straight. That's a season high. And as we record this on April 16th, 3 games back in the win column from the Portland Trail Blazers, who were in there at that 6th spot. So I think if Steph Curry continues to ball out like he's been balling out at this rate and they get up to the 6th seed, maybe the betting odds improve a little bit in Steph Curry's favor.
Yep.
I just think it's a little too late for Steph Curry to realistically win an MVP.
It's going to be fun to watch. It's a fun MVP race this year. Would you vote Steph for MVP? Type V for vote, type D for deny. I'm not voting for him yet. Let's check back in a couple of weeks, though. Get your votes in, V for vote or D for deny. Try gaming here. Kendrick Perkins to the Nets. He said he may come back to join the Nets. Guys, Kendrick Perkins is like 300 pounds at this point, and that's fine. He's making good money from ESPN. He's dropping fire tweets from time to time, and then carry the hell on, Perk. If he said that, he was 100% trolling. Like he's not coming back. So Perk's a funny guy, but he ain't playing at this point.
Carry on to the next.
Rashard Lee, how good was the Luka game winner? We've got a group text here at Chat Sports, and I sent in there. I said, guys, if you didn't watch it, you just missed one of the craziest game winners you will ever see from Luka. In the grand scheme of things, does it mean a ton? Probably not, but my goodness, in terms of degree of difficulty, that's one of the best game winners you'll ever see.
Yeah, because it was impossible to defend because he kind of split in between two defenders, and because he was leaning forward,
they didn't want to foul him.
That's susceptible to a foul. So they just laid off a little bit, and Luka drained that, and you threw it back to, what, Ty Lawson, similar game winner in 2006?
As soon as I saw that, because, okay, so Luka catches the inbounds, takes a dribble, splits defenders, and does like a one-legged floater.
Yeah.
Because after he made it, I was like, is that a 2 or a 3? Because he had so much forward momentum. He was clearly behind the line. He knew where he was. I remembered, like, I have these weird, like, sports brain blasts all the time. And I was like,
He's a
man,
genius.
Ty Lawson did something very similar at North Carolina. And I actually found the clip on Twitter. You can follow me at HGramNFL. And look, it was fantastic. It was a big win for Dallas. If they lost that game to Memphis, they would have only been a half game up for the 8 seed. So pretty big for Dallas. But in terms of how good it was, just purely on the shot skill, that's a 50 out of 50, man. That was outstanding from Luka Doncic. Now, we have a lot of NBA team-based channels here at Chat Sports, and if you didn't know that, well, we're here to tell you about it. The Lakers Report, man, they're just running away with this thing. We have 35,000 subscribers, so you Lakers fans, go sub today. YouTube.com/LakersTV, the latest news and rumors around the purple and gold. Warriors fans, we just crossed 15,000 subscribers. Chase has been doing a great job over there, keeping you guys up to date, keeping you guys on track of the Steph Curry heaters. YouTube.com/WarriorsTV for Warriors coverage all year long. Dallas Mavericks today, we're approaching 13,000 subs. Not as much coverage recently, but we're looking to ramp that up here at Chat Sports. YouTube.com/MavsTV for you MFFLs. And then Boston Celtics today, we're close. 5,000 subs just around the corner. If you're a Celtics fan, YouTube.com/CelticsTV is the place to go. Chase has been grinding to get that channel to over 5,000 subscribers. Help us out. If we get more subscribers, we'll do more videos. So go check out our team-based channels. Next up on our mailbag, Derek the Don. Yo, what's up?
What up?
Can the Celtics make a sneaky run in the playoffs? They're a team I wouldn't want to face. I still have concerns down low for them, but they have enough firepower from their guards and wings, and we know they're going to be a scrappy defensive team come playoff time.
Look, when it comes to competing for NBA championships, what's the one position that you need to really carry you outside of Steph Curry, who was kind of outside the norm in terms of this conversation? You need elite wings.
Yeah.
That's how you win NBA titles.
Athleticism on the wing.
LeBron, Jimmy Butler, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Kawhi Leonard, the list goes on and on and on. Kevin Durant in that conversation, of course, too. Larry
Stevenson.
Bird, if we're going way back in the day. You need elite wings. What do the Celtics have? Elite wings in Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. So they're playing really good basketball right now. The eye test, they pass it. They're not just winning games in ugly fashion. They've been impressive, and I think if they get into the playoffs in a good seed, a quality seed, not like a 7th seed where they might have to face a Brooklyn Nets, I think they could make a run.
So what do you guys think? Type R if you think they can make a run. Type T if you think it's too late. I got news for you. It ain't too late. They're already up in the 5 seed. Let us know. Do you guys think Boston can make a playoff run? BJ Sports, did the Bulls lose the Vucevic trade? I knew this topic was going to come up on this show, or at least on Twitter. We have to remember when it comes to this Vucevic trade, this really wasn't about this year. Now, look, it's been disappointing early on. I think they've lost like 9 out of 13 since making the trade, but Vooch is averaging like 27 in Chicago. It hasn't really been a Vooch issue. Team chemistry, they don't have a lot of good defenders. Vooch and Zach LaVine, your best 2 players, neither are known for their defense. Yeah, if they miss the playoffs this year, that's disappointing. Vooch has 2 more years on his deal. Zach LaVine is entering superstar status. This is really about next year and beyond to add more talent around these guys. Sure, the early results aren't great, but to just speculate that they've lost the trade already, that's completely reckless.
Yeah, right when they made that trade, I think they reeled off 5 straight losses. Then they went on a winning streak and won like 4 or 5 in a row. Now they've lost 4 in a row. And the big thing with Chicago this year, in the immediacy of the moment, Zach LaVine out because of COVID protocols. Who knows how long he's going to be out. But For right now, yes, the Bulls have been disappointing, but I think this move was made with keeping in mind that Vooch is going to be under contract.
Ask us this 2 years from now, and we'll have a better answer. Blink guy, Tyler Herro or Gary Trent Jr. This sounds like a out there question. Not sure it is. Gary Trent's really developing nicely.
Gary Trent Jr. is only 22 years old, and I understand that he was brought back by the Toronto Raptors in that deal for Norman Powell, who's 27 years old, and before Norm Powell got traded, he was averaging like 26, 27 points per game for a month. Those numbers have dipped down with Dame Lillard and CJ McCollum. Gary Trent Jr., on the other hand, he's upped his play a little bit. He's averaging almost 20 points per game, and he's only 22 years old. Tyler Herro, also young. You saw what he did on the big stage in the NBA Finals and in the NBA playoffs last year. Right now, might give the slight edge to Tyler Herro, but there's no doubt Gary Trent Jr., the better all-around player because he can defend.
Sam11, thoughts on Aleksej Pokusevski of the Thunder? I like him. He's an intriguing player. I worry about 7-foot guys being less than 200 pounds. Forgive me for that. There's no doubt he's skilled. Look, he can shoot. He can run the floor. He can block shots. He is thin as a twig. He makes KD look jacked, and KD ain't jacked. He's pretty skinny. So, look, some guys just can't put on weight, but can he find a way to get to 220 in a couple of years? I mean, at 7
You'd
foot,
hope so.
You're still skinny at that point. I think he's like 195, 198 right now. He's a very talented player. Time will tell to see, A, if he can stay healthy, and B, if he can, become one of these star players, down the road. NOLA Pelicans fans, who should the Pels trade for in the offseason? Well, from New Orleans side of things, the things to watch out for will be, what do you do with Lonzo? Do you re-sign him? He's going to be a restricted player this offseason. There was chatter about trading him at the deadline. That did not happen. So I think you see how the rest of this year goes. Do you sneak into that 10 seed, get into that play-in tournament? They're a few games behind San Antonio right now. But you look at this team right now, what's your next move if you're running the Pelicans?
Look, if I'm David Griffin, I really try to keep this core together.
Yeah.
Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson. I mean, that's a crew and a trio that you can continue to grow with, and I just don't think they've had an opportunity to play enough together. Last year, COVID-shortened season, they had to go in the bubble, and Zion obviously got a start late. So I'd keep the crew together, honestly. That's what I would do if I was the Pelicans.